Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a special edition of Real News Live. Once again, my guest today to be interviewed is Marina Seren, all the way from Madrid, Spain. If you don't know who Marina is, she is a secret space program participant and an experiencer, and someone who has, I think, a lot of wisdom beyond her years. It's great to have you with us again, Marina, even though it's so late there in Madrid right now.
Yes, it is almost 2 a.m., but I am a night owl, so I do not mind. Thank you for having me again in your program.
Yeah, you look great. For 2 in the morning, I live in Las Vegas. I never look that good at 2 in the morning. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm always asleep on a piece of pizza using it as a pillow about right now. So, welcome again. Okay, one of the reasons I wanted to have you back is because there's a lot of stuff out there about you, and I've gotten some blowback and comments on some of the videos about people making accusations about you and your ideology, even your religious faith, and those kinds of things. And what people don't understand is, although I think you were raised Catholic, correct? I'm correct in that, right?
Christian, yes.
That you've learned a lot about other religious, I guess you would call them religious systems, and even off-world based philosophies. And you've talked about vril and the vril energy quite a bit. And I think that necklace is a vril symbol, is it not?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So I would like you to just talk to people a little bit and explain where that comes from, because it's been misrepresented as being related to Nazi Germany, which they did talk about or use aspects of it in their propaganda. But the reality is, Vril predated any kind of Nazi ideology, and it's not associated with that, is it?
The British Society was created by Maria Orsic in Deutschland or Germany. And of course, it's a German secret society. And of course, the Nazi or the National Socialist Party or order took a lot of information from this specific spiritual, let's say, society, secret society.
Mm-hmm.
But it does not mean by any means that they were working for those specific political ideologies or that they agreed upon everything. They were independent from the Reich. If we could, let's say, talk about other societies that were working directly with the National Socialist Germans, that will be the Thule Society or the NNRV. But the real society was just not into politics that much, and it was completely independent. It's true that they have communications going on, but they are not political biased. They are working for the purpose of researching into metaphysical information, advanced information, and channeling anti-gravity technology.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it was, as I understand it, because I did some research on the Vril for my book Hidden Agenda, which was called NASA and the Secret Space Program, that it was more about spiritual communication, or even what you might call remote viewing with extraterrestrial species, which is something, of course, we're all interested in our field. So it was more about that and learning about the nature of the universe and physics and science and stuff from these off-worlders, was it not?
Yes, exactly. They perform channeling to get into contact with the Nordic Aldebaranian Anunnakis from the Tauro constellation, and they channeled very specific information on how to construct anti-gravity technology, and not only that, but a lot of spiritual wisdom and occult knowledge for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they were pretty successful with that anti-gravity technology stuff, because again, got into some research, and the stories about the Hannibal,
Hanebu.
say it again,
Hanebu.
Hannibal, flying saucers is pretty solid stuff. There's actually quite a bit of research into it, and if you look at the technologies, you can actually see that these technologies were being worked on, not just by the Germans, but by American scientists and researchers back in the 20s and 30s, before Einstein kind of locked us into this very limited view of the universe. So when you talk about the Vril Society and Vril energy, you're not talking about anything that you would consider negative or violent or anything like that, are you?
Absolutely, but most importantly, I'm not talking about politics. I'm
Right.
talking about metaphysics and spiritual occult knowledge.
Right. It was not a political movement at all. So, as long as you brought up politics, let's talk about politics because I know that you're an important political figure now in Spain, which is very exciting for you, and I think that's great. And you're a member of a party that's kind of an opposition party, and people forget in America there's two parties, and they're both corrupt, and they're both against us, the people, and so you think, one good, one bad. But over there and in many parts of Europe, there are multiple parties with different perspectives. You have the Reform Party in Britain, which is trying to fix all the problems they have in their country. So you're a member of, not necessarily a member of the party, but you are an advocate for certain perspectives. And we've talked before, and I'm pretty sure that all you're really about politically is you want to keep Spain unified as a country,
Exactly.
correct?
Yes, exactly. I have nationalist political ideologies, meaning that I advocate for the union of one country or one nation.
Hmm.
Do not believe in these micro nationalisms that attempt to destroy that union within the country or the nation itself. And that is
Yes.
what I stand for.
Yeah, I'm a nationalist myself for America. I believe in us being a unified country where the rules apply to everyone all the time in the same way. Unfortunately, that's not happening in the United States. So this particular party, they're not anti-Semitic, they're not anti-Jew, they don't want to kill other members of other religions or races. That's correct, right? I mean, it's been exaggerated that way online.
I mean, I am not part of any political party in general. That's the
Hmm.
point. I do not find any political party within the Spanish democracy that represents my ideology or the things that I believe that should be applied in order to achieve that, let's say, common goal of wellness, of community, of collective wellness, let's say, and social justice, freedom, etc. But yeah, I mean, people think that I'm part of a party that is called Vox because I am supposedly right wing, and I am, but that is just not true. I do not support them, and mostly because they're just not my ideology. Besides
Right.
being from the right wing perspective, so
Yeah. Well, and to me, there's nothing wrong with being what you might call right wing, at least in America, because
yeah,
here it represents freedom. It represents the freedom and
yes,
sovereignty of the individual to make their own choices about life.
yes, exactly,
And that's an ideology you're also a supporter of.
yes.
Okay, so I got to ask you about a couple other things
Mhm.
that are floating around. There are people making accusations about you, and they've they've taken clips of interviews that you did, I think, quite a while ago, more than 5 years ago. And by the way, you're 24 years old today, correct? So you were about
Correct.
19 when you did these interviews.
Or 20. I will say 20 years old.
But you were just beginning to tell your story in public, also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And it's, in America, we have a journalistic tactic, which is called an ambush interview, or like kind of like what happened to the President Trump in the presidential debate, where the moderators and the opponent all ganged up and tried to get him to say things that weren't true and tried to put words in his mouth and stuff like that. And so I've listened to parts of these interviews, and my impression was that this guy kind of ambushed you and wound you up, and you got all pissed off and said a few things to him that maybe you'd like to correct. I don't say you want to take them back, but I mean, can you go to that particular thing? And we don't want to give this person any air. We don't want to give these fake interviews any, we don't want to lift them up or put them out there, but they do exist. And I just think I want to give you the opportunity to address them.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Well, this, of course, was not an interview. It was a call from Messenger, Facebook Messenger. And the thing is that he contacted me. He wrote a message on some of my posts in Facebook saying that there were certainly a group of, let's say, people that were against me for whatever reason, that were talking negative things.
Mm-hmm.
And
All
he
leftists,
asked
by the way, right? All far left commies, basically, who are, yeah, worthless.
Yes, and so he told me, he told me if I wanted to just give him a call and discuss about this idea. And I said, yes, of course. I mean, if you could, share that information, I would like to know personally, just right out of curiosity. And then when I was on the call with him, he started becoming very abusive. He
Hmm.
started saying that very crazy stories about his own personal life, about how he was abused by the Germans in the secret space program, and that he hated Germany and he hated,
Yeah.
all these people in Europe. And he started saying that he didn't believe me neither, and very, very horrible things. He was abusive me. He was
Hmm.
insulting me and being very, very mad, And I observed that he was very patriotic, of the USA, of America.
Right.
So the point here, the most important thing here to highlight is that he was being a Nazi. And I was saying, I'm not a Nazi. I don't care what you say. I am not. And he was saying, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And he kept on insulting me constantly and abusing me and yelling at me.
Yeah.
And I
I
became
saw it. It
so,
was
so
it was
burned out.
shitty. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to talk.
Exactly.
It was shitty. Yeah.
Right. I became so burned out by his behavior that I decided to hurt him, so that he will, just let go and turn off the phone or whatever and leave me alone. I said, yes, I'm a Nazi and whatever. And I started to say
Yeah.
all these, national
All
socialist.
these ridiculous, outrageous things. Yes, you're right. Of course I am.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that was my point. That was my strategy saying, yes, whatever, I'm this. And by the way, I hate your country. Fuck your country.
Yeah.
It was on purpose because he was just annoying me. And I decided to say, if this is what he wants to hear from me, then here we go. I will say it so that he leaves me alone. And I didn't know that he was recording it. So what did he do with this? He cropped out the whole
Yep.
call, leaving the first part of the conversation behind, and then he made it public without the 1 hour of long of conversation that we had previous to that. So people have no context of what really was going on.
Yeah. So basically, it was not an interview. He called you up privately. You
Exactly.
assumed it was a private call. You didn't know it was being recorded. He talked to you for a while, and then it sounds like he slowly drew you in, trying to get you vulnerable and provoked you and got you all pissed off. And finally, you were just kind of being sarcastic. Well, yeah, of course, I'm a Nazi and all that other stuff. And then he secretly recorded that and put it out on the web, on the internet, as if it was a legitimate interview. So that's what happened. And that's, again, that's just scummy and low life. And on top of that, Marina, how old were you when this happened?
20 years old,
Yeah,
approximately.
19 or 20 years old. Not even old enough to have a drink here in the US yet. If you came to Vegas, I couldn't even buy you a drink at that age. So, that's just BS. It's wrong. And again, apparently only he has the full recording. So you can't put out the whole recording and show people what the context was and how manipulative this person was. So,
Exactly.
that's, again, it sounds like there's an easy explanation for this, and it's a bunch of garbage. Um, and I'll support you on this because I really do think you have a lot of important information. Although I disagree with you about whether we went to the moon or not, for real. We have a disagreement on that. We'll have to arm wrestle over that at some point, and I will win and prove to you that we went to the moon. Okay, so there's one other thing that people make a big deal out of, which is this cosplay stuff. And, I've seen pictures. I've seen your modeling pictures. You're gorgeous. You look great in a bikini. Just going to let you know that and stipulate that to the audience off the top of the show. And I've seen you do modeling. This is actually modeling work for a company that sells vintage military gear. Is that correct?
Yes, they sell they are professional collectionists, and
Mm-hmm.
they sell authentic pieces from the Reich, from the World War II period of time. So, yes, I work for them and I model for them. I am also a professional historical reenactor, so I have uniforms from Second World War, the First World War, and even from the Spanish Civil War. So it's not something that I want people to give it a political meaning, of course, because that's ridiculous. And so, yes, it's historical reenactment. That's how it is.
Yeah, it's a story. I mean, I dressed up as Captain Kirk for Halloween once. That doesn't, with a beard even. That doesn't mean I'm going. Well, maybe I was the evil Captain Kirk from the Mirror Universe. That doesn't mean that I'm a member of Starfleet. So that's ridiculous, right? So, you're just obviously it's a modeling gig, and I think the reenactment stuff. There's a lot of people that do that here, and everybody, by the way, everybody who dresses in the gray uniforms of the rebels of the Confederacy isn't necessarily a racist, right? Or wants to enslave people. So, again, it's the same kind of thing. And I've seen pictures of you in front of a couple of German Panzers, and I have to say I'm really jealous because I love German Panzers from World War II. I love the design. I'm an engineer. I started out as an engineer, and I just think that they're brilliant in their execution. And you got to stand next to one, and I'm going to do that someday. I'm going to take a tour of Europe. This is kind of the main things I've been hearing, and I felt like they were very false, and I knew this wasn't the kind of person that you were. So I wanted to get your explanation on it. Is there anything else you'd like to add about this whole process or the things people have said about you in the past?
Sure. I mean, the main thing will be that you cannot judge a person by something that is not even an interview, something that was an ambush, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like we'll
Mm-hmm.
say, or a call that was meant to be manipulative with the goal of trying to discredit me. Because this person has been doing this to other people, not just me.
Right.
So that gives more context as to what he was literally, I mean, truly doing with this idea of, trying to get me canceled or whatever. And we are in that period of time in which, we cancel each other for whatever thing, and even things that are not true. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think just it's just very sad because I'm a transparent person and I say what I think, and I have no reason to lie or to hide something from the public about who I am and what I'm here to do. I'm a political activist. So putting words in my mouth that are not true or trying to accuse me of things that I haven't said not only is very it's disgusting, it's from people that are seriously I wouldn't know how to call them, what adjective to attribute to them, but it's just very sad, right? But in most cases it could be against the law. Mostly if we're talking about that sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And there's one other person that I'm actually suing
Mm-hmm.
and in him to respond in front of a court because what he did is illegal. And I want people to understand that it is illegal, no matter if you're living in my country or not. If I see or if I hear somebody trying to put things in my mouth that I haven't said that are sensitive and are meant to, be shared to try to cancel me or whatever, I
Yeah.
will, yeah, I mean, just letting you know that I'm going to have to sue you for that. It's just not, it goes against the law.
It does. We call it legal term over here is defamation of
Yeah,
character. We defame
mention.
your character, which is a word that and I think you know what that word means. And people have tried to cancel me too, very unsuccessfully. They try to cancel me for my political views, which should not be controversial because I am a patriotic American who believes in the precepts of our Constitution, which is a financial document, by the way. We'll have to discuss that sometime. And the same thing has happened to me. People have made up stories about me that I did this or that with some girl, and none of it is true. It's absolutely not true. And I'm not stupid, and I keep track of everything. And I like you, at the appropriate time, will be moving against these people. And by the way, if you see this interview, you should be worried. I'm not going to mention any names, should be church. You guys should be worried, Bobby Peralta. You should be worried. because um, because when the time comes, the tables are going to turn. And
Exactly.
I just think you I'm just really not disappointed because Marina, there's no one who has a better life than you, who's living better than you, that hates you. They only hate you because you're doing better than them. So, in some ways, look at it as you must be doing pretty well. So look at it, I'll try to look at it like that, and go after them when the opportunity presents itself.
Yes, 100%. And also, I just wanted to share one last thing, and that is that I do not hate America, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than I already explained that it was meant to be said to him because it was something that I knew will hurt him. So it was on
It was,
purpose.
yeah, it was sarcastic and provocative, is what you're
Exactly.
saying, right?
But apart from that, whenever I have criticized America, it has been against the corruption of American government. It has
Hmm.
not been America itself.
No.
I have lots of friends there, and I almost go there to live in America and
Right.
become. So I don't know. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I think as Americans, we have to face the truth that we are waking up to the reality that the principles that we talk about and that we are taught that we stand for are not, in fact, the way our government has been behaving for at least the last 60 or 70 years. Ever since they killed President Kennedy, we have been on the wrong path. And a lot of very corrupt people in mostly the bankers have been ruining what America is supposed to be. And what we're trying to do as patriots and nationalists is try to bring America back to what it's supposed to be, which is to ultimately have the utmost respect for the rights of the individual, the sovereignty of the individual to make their own way in life and make their own choices. So I think we're in alignment on that. So, okay. Thank you for being here again. I hope we got a lot of this stuff cleared up. If not, we'll do it again, a quick one. It's hard for us to get together because our times are so different. But and I do think I'd like to do some more interviews about your experiences with aliens and stuff. I don't think we've really touched on that. And I know the videos have been very popular. And also, I would in not sure November, December, January, I would like to have you on a podcast out here that we do live that is for my new company, UFO Expo, where we are going to create alien events, UFO events around the country, all over around America, and then eventually expand into Europe is the plan in the next few years. So we do something called UFO Expo TV. And I already told them I want you on. So they have a date booked for you. I got to look it up, but they have a date booked for you. I'll let you know what it is when it happens. So,
Great. Thank you so much.
all right. So it's great to have you back here again. Thanks for talking to me and clearing these things up. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, send it to Marina or send it to me, and we will absolutely deal with it directly and in the most truthful way. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. Bye bye. Say goodbye, Marina.
Goodbye.
Bye.